Good afternoon, everybody. What's going on, everybody? Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning into Loud Majority Live. We've got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We are awaiting very soon. We will get what the Senate is calling a test vote on the SAVE Act, which is kind of like just the tip, but for a bill that you know probably isn't going to pass. John Thune is useless. He is aggressively useless. His deputy, John Barrasso, is useless. The Senate leadership is just aggressively useless. They can't seem to get their conference in line, which is why we're probably not going to get the SAVE Act passed, because we are, despite the hard work of all the activists all over the country, we have decided to put in neocons that actually don't want to help America. We're going to make fun of John Thune and John Barrasso and that other little lady whose name I can't remember from West Virginia in just a second. Also, Nick Shirley starts dropping more bangers about the homeless, about not only the homeless schemes in California, but also the hospice care schemes going on, just completely bankrupting the state. Democrats continue to piss and moan over DHS funding, leading to 3-hour wait times at TSA. Right, because there's no place on planet Earth a human being would like to be stuck more for 3 hours than online with a bunch of people wearing either next to nothing or stuck in their pajamas. Also, more updates from Iran, as the markets are leveling out a little bit right now, with the Dow Jones being up about 100 points, about 100 points, a little over a quarter of a point right now, with the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 continuing to level off. I don't know. This isn't financial advice, but it would be a good time to buy if I was someone who was into that sort of thing. It would be, I think it'd be a good time. But before we get started, guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling here. I want to say hello to everybody. We'll bring you guys the test vote when it comes out, the test vote. They're working so hard. Right now, there are HVAC techs crawling through some air duct in an apartment building somewhere thinking, man, my life really sucks, but I could be a United States Senator. So, things could be a little bit better. Cajun Lady watching on X, what's happening? AC Knight, thank you for the shout out as always. If you guys are watching on Facebook, do me a favor, hit that little @ button. Tag your friends, tag your followers, hit your highlight if you're watching on X. Do me a favor. Sly said I would make a good leprechaun, and that's why I don't wear green. That's why I don't wear red. That's why I don't wear blue. But that's why I don't wear colors. That's why I come on here wearing the same color all of the time. All the time. So, guys, make sure you're sharing this out all over the place. Hit the retweet button if you are a repost, I guess you're calling it now, if you're watching on X. All that good stuff. Let's dive right on in, because John Thune came out before and pissed and moaned about how important it is to pass the SAVE Act, which is probably why he's not threatening Republicans with primaries over the SAVE Act. I am curious to see where this test vote goes. If John Thune does get the 50 votes, does he get rid of the filibuster for this particular bill, as one would assume he should? He won't, but we would all like to see it. Obviously, many of the holdout. What do we got here? Is John Thune speaking right now? Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if Fox Now throws the. Looks like it. Hold up. Let's see. No, never mind. Chuck Schumer speaking, and nobody cares what he has to say. Oh, you know what? Let's throw it all, Chucky boy.
It could purge millions of American citizens from the voter rolls through a screening algorithm designed by Elon Musk's Doge Squad. It could disenfranchise over 20 million American citizens. It would kill online voter registration. It would kill vote by mail. It would kill voter motor registration. What does any of that have to do with election security? It doesn't. It's a naked attempt to rig our elections. The SAVE Act also rejects the most common forms of ID for anyone trying to register. The way this works, you don't have to be notified if you're kicked off the rolls. You show up on election day, they say you were sorry, Mr. Smith, Ms. Jones. You're not on the rolls anymore. And then they make it impossible to re-register, certainly on that day, and you lose your right to vote. Driver licenses are no longer enough. The most common ID forms for anyone to register are rejected in the SAVE Act for the first time in just about every state. Not even...
Now, the reason we're showing you guys this, the reason why, because I think, let me go back because I think the test vote actually passed. Let me see. I believe the test vote did pass 51 to 40 something, which would be wild. They didn't show. I thought they showed it up there. We'll bring it back to you guys live. Of course, Chuck Schumer losing his ever-loving mind. It's funny because all the things that Democrats are worried about when it comes to the SAVE Act are all the reasons why we are passing it in the first place. Yes, it would purge voter rolls. Yeah, that's sort of the point, Chucky boy. Also, real quick, it bothers me on a very serious level when Chuck Schumer does things like this. This is so important to him. We'll go back one more niche. It's so important that he can't even come up with his own speech, that he has to have it written down on multiple pieces of paper, probably in some kind of, 28 font, so that his old ass can see it. All right, here's John Thune. Let's see what his useless ass has to say.
All right, we will definitely be keeping an eye on the Senate.
Before they do this test vote on the Save America Act. We will take a 2-minute break on Live Now from Fox.
What the hell? I got two different channels on here. Give me a second here. Give me 1 second here. I guess the test vote has begun right now. Yes, it has. Let's see.
Doesn't understand that the Senate's received.
Yeah, it looks like the test vote has begun in the Senate right now.
Leader.
Mr. President, I understand that the Senate's received a message from the House to accompany S-1383.
The leader is correct.
Mr. President, I ask that the chair lay before the Senate the House message to accompany S-1383.
All right, that's got nothing to do with the test vote. We'll bring it back to we'll bring it back to the Senate chamber live when that breaks. But Chuck Schumer has said that he plans on doing everything he possibly can to stop this, despite the fact that overwhelming numbers of Republicans and Democrats, of course, support voter ID laws, which is probably why elected Democrats absolutely hate it. Nevertheless, I have to know. There is something I have to, I don't really seem to understand about the Senate right now. When you look at the leadership in the Senate, you have John Thune from South Dakota. Nobody lives there. You have John Barrasso from Wyoming. No one lives there. You have Shelley Caputo Moore, West Virginia. Nobody lives there. I don't understand why the Senate isn't more accurately represented by states that have, humans in it. I mean, literally, and I'm not dogging anybody from South Dakota or Wyoming or West Virginia. I'm just saying that mathematically, there's probably no one in those states watching this right now, because Wyoming is quite literally the most sparsely populated piece of land outside of Antarctica on planet Earth. I don't really understand why we can't have, and whatever you think about him, Rick Scott, someone like that from a populous Republican state, somebody from Texas running the show. I don't know. Instead, we have to be governed by people who got really lucky that there was natural gas underneath their feet, which is the only reason why John Thune is even the leader of the Senate. But, what the hell? As I said, Chuck Schumer plans to do everything he possibly can to stop the will of the American people. Here he was earlier today.
Bill. And if Republicans try to burn time on this legislation here on the floor, we will oppose them for as long as it takes.
Again, with the moving of the papers, if it's that important, bro, just talk off the top of your head.
Donald Trump and Senate Republicans know their numbers are sinking badly. They know the American people are souring on their agenda.
Actually, they're really not. Despite the best efforts of some of the people on the new right, things seem to be going pretty... What the hell is Sheriff Grady Judge doing here? The sheriff of Polk County, Florida. We've played him a lot on the show. For some reason, he's on TV right now, probably being hilarious. If he continues to be hilarious and hold up pictures of, like, ugly prostitutes like he's known to do, we'll be sure to bring that to you. But we'll wait for that test vote to come in the Senate. I'm sure it's going to take a number of times to... I'm sure it's going to take a little while to get that vote. But once again, look, if John Thune cannot deliver on this with a 3-seat majority in the Senate, which proportionally is a hell of a lot bigger than the 2-seat majority that Mike Johnson was able to pass the SAVE Act with, I think he needs to be removed as the leader of the Senate. Of course, he'll just be replaced with one of his other cronies, whichever one Mitch McConnell decides to appoint in his bouts of coherency or whenever he's not falling down. Many people say we should replace Mitch McConnell with someone from Kentucky who is younger. But, of course, we can't do that because Kentucky has a Republican governor. So if Mitch McConnell dies or is left physically incapacitated, unable to vote, he gets replaced by a Democrat. So for all the people out there yammering on about getting rid of Mitch McConnell, just know that I would rather take a sleepy little turtle who can't seem to walk over an able-bodied Democrat any day of the week. Any day of the week. Once again, guys, we're going to keep monitoring what's going on the Senate floor as this goes on at the moment. But let's move over. Let's move over to California, baby. The home of the presumptive Democratic nominee in 2028, Gavin Newsom. Well, unfortunately, some kid decided to show up in his neighborhood the other day and start pointing out the exact same fraud that was pointed out in Minnesota. This time it went significantly less viral than it did last time, but then again, I don't know how anything could possibly go more viral than the last time Nick Shirley put out a video. Now he's looking into hospice and homeless care. Hospice fraud, which, shockingly enough, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but somehow, like 40% of all the money spent on hospice care in America comes out of L.A. Comes just out of L.A. County, which is wild because everyone knows where the most hospice care happens, and that would be Del Boca Vista in Florida, because that's where all the old people live. All the young people live in Los Angeles. When you get old, you move to Arizona if you live in Los Angeles. When you get old, you move to Florida. It's a regular migration pattern for the human species. Everybody knows this. So the fact that LA County is spending 40% of the money in this country on hospice care is pretty wild. Here was Nick Shirley out in Los Angeles explaining exactly how all this happens.
Here in California, what makes this hospice and home healthcare fraud so hard to crack down on, take for example this one right here, All Day Hospice Care. They have billed $3.1 million, and per beneficiary, that's about $6,000, and 24 claims per patient with only 2 codes, which means 2 services. They've had over 505 patients, and they started billing in 2023 and accumulated $3.1 million in 19 months. And that is over 12,000 claims. The velocity of the billing here is what leads me to believe this is potentially fraudulent. And what makes this hard to track is that they then just rent small little suites inside of these kind of buildings, and they run their operations from there. And once any sort of suspicion comes, They then leave, close down shop, and who knows where they go. Are they going back to Armenia? Are they going back to Russia? Are they going back to their native country? Or are they just moving to another building inside of a location here in Los Angeles? And these areas where these people are committing this fraud, it just looks dilapidated. You have storefronts that are completely closed down, homeless people walk on the streets, these businesses are all boarded up, and they're prying on people who are on the verge of death to make all their money. That's what hospice is. But that is what the business model of the hospice is they just literally rent out these small little suites, charge millions of dollars over the years. Oh my gosh. And you just have people peeing. How was that piss? You what? You masturbated a week ago? Wow. Gross. Well, there you have it. That's just the craziness of it all.
Welcome to California, Nick. Nice little Mormon boy shows up in California, and that is what he is welcomed with. Poor kid. Get on the subway in New York, Nick. That'll be nothing. That'll be nothing. Of course, there was plenty more from the expose where Nick decided that he was going. And I want to be clear. A lot of the work, and Nick Shirley's getting a lot of the credit, and he absolutely should. He absolutely should. He's putting out tremendous work. He's putting out great work and great editing and great video content and the like. But he's working with a lot of great activists on the ground. You had that guy Dave in Minnesota. He's also working with another woman in California because people in their local communities know what's going on. And a lot of times, as we've dealt with here, with young activists and people that understand fraud going on in their local areas, a lot of the time it's hard to get that sort of information out to the public. And that's why you need people. And I tell people this all the time. If you've got a local tip and you've got the goods, get it out to me and I'll get it to Nick Sorter and Nick Shirley and James O'Keefe. We're going to show you a James O'Keefe clip in just a little bit. But here was some more of Nick Shirley in a pretty terrifying video.
Now let's go to another one that's even more concerning as kids are left all alone.
Now we're at the Jama Shukri Family Childcare. This place is not in a shopping plaza. It's not anywhere near any place that looks like a place where a daycare would be. In fact, it's actually in one of these apartments right here. So they're able to have daycares inside apartment buildings?
Yes. So I've come across many of these. Some of these are on the third story of an apartment complex. It's only one bedroom, and yet the capacity is for 8 kids.
We just arrived at the daycare. We have 2 kids out here. I don't know if they're members of the daycare. There's no oversight right here. Can we talk to your teacher? Is your teacher there? So this is the first child we've ever encountered at one of these daycares. There's 2 kids out here right now, and we're gonna see if we can talk to the
licensee. It is, according to this paperwork, Shukri Jama.
Can we talk to the adult?
He is not here.
Not here.
Yeah.
So you guys all by yourself?
Yeah. Lock the door.
No one's here.
No one is here. No one is not here.
Okay, so you guys are all by yourself?
Okay. I can see by myself.
Yeah, okay, that's concerning. No one's watching those children and they're all by themselves.
My heart is breaking right now. I can't. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and what makes you so emotional as a mother seeing that those kids are just out by themselves?
Seeing the kids all by themselves. It's supposed to be a licensed daycare and there's no adult anywhere. What is going on?
And the crazy thing is, California allocates $6 billion to childcare and daycare facilities just like these, and there are over 39,000 facilities in the state.
I mean, you know, obviously a lot of the situation is wanting to correct the problem here, but a lot of it is, as you just saw, there's just 2 kids roaming around an apartment complex with no adult present. And look, I'm not one of these people that thinks that, like, you know, 11-year-olds can't be left at home. Those clearly were not of that age. Those were clearly small children that should have been watched over. At a daycare facility that is getting taxpayer dollars. But of course, that's not the only way in which Democrats are committing fraud. And guys, I mean this genuinely. I get nothing for any of this except to support good people doing good work. That's why I tell you guys to go and subscribe to Nick Shirley, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whether it's going to places like O'Keefe Media Group and supporting the independent journalists who are doing the great work. James O'Keefe was on the ground in California discovering voter fraud on the streets of Skid Row. It's a long video. The video's about a half hour long. We're going to show you guys about 7 or 8 minutes of it just so you can see it. Here's James O'Keefe on the ground in L.A.
Cal, we're going to give you $2. Oh, it's good. We just need 14 signatures.
The petitioner Brenda Brown hands cash money to the homeless person, not only for signing the California ballot initiative, but also as payment for them to register to vote.
Now, because you haven't registered, I need to register you so I can get paid too. I'm paying you guys, I need to get paid. Come on.
That is a federal felony. And it didn't just happen once, it happened over and over and over again. We personally witnessed and covertly filmed this happening at least 28 times over the span of our investigation, and that is just in Los Angeles. Many of the homeless have zero understanding of what it is that they're actually signing.
But what is that petition for? You know? What's the petition for?
I do not know what to say.
The petitioners instruct the homeless to enter made-up addresses like Pinocchio Lane.
Where do I put as my address?
Yeah, just put you live on Pinocchio Lane.
Oh, you can just take it out.
Oh, good.
And all of this occurring just outside the front doors of shelters and NGOs such as Weingart Center, which have received hundreds of millions of dollars in government money. One Weingart employee tells us when and where to find the illegal cash exchanges for signatures outside, and says the cash being given out is coming from a higher source.
Do you know if they provide the money that they're handing out?
Yeah,
the company
that's what they give up. When they give the money out, they got to go back and tally up if they stealing the money or not, so they got to have signatures. Most of them they be right across the street under that tree. You can check with them Monday through Friday.
While another Weingart employee advises the homeless on how to practice plausible deniability and ignorance of the law.
See, they say ignorance is no excuse for the law. But a lot of times I have to say I didn't know. I had no idea.
Oh, that would be what he should say.
He should say.
Yeah. The petitioners orchestrate an elaborate pyramid scheme of unregistered petition circulators.
If I were to hire you, you would be under me. Yes. I'm under my son, I'm under him, and you under me. So it's like a pyramid game, and really, I don't need you, you need me. I don't need you.
One of the petitioners threatens to attack one of our journalists.
Go down the street, bro, before we move you down the street. I'll knock you out looking right at me.
Bro, why are you trying to be like that, bro?
Say I won't knock your ass out. Bitch ass nigga, don't come over here again. I'm gonna beat your ass.
And an employee of the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority records not the fraud, but the people exposing it.
That you okay? Why are you filming? Why are you filming us? I'm with the LAPD.
You know it's a crime to say you're with the police when you're not.
No, I'm not with the LAPD.
Well, that's what you just said 2 minutes ago. Why did you lie?
As the NGOs pretended to be the police in order to intimidate us, I began to wonder whether we're still living in America. The Department of Justice has been sent these tapes of election fraud cash exchange for voter registration happening in broad daylight, and we have informed the Department of Justice there are more tapes coming. There will be a new tape dropping every day until someone is arrested or indicted. George Washington said the administration of justice is supposed to be the firmest pillar of government, but if democracy is for sale and there is no accountability as a result of this video, it doesn't matter who is elected. Our notion of freedom is all just an illusion. Throughout Los Angeles, especially during protests, there are hundreds of petition circulators and activists canvassing on the street to gather thousands of signatures for various petitions with the objective of getting them onto the voting ballot.
We have 13 different statewide petitions.
Each one is for a different cause.
Now, which organization are you with?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know. I don't know what organization I'm with. I have to give them a call.
It says we the
Populous.
Populous Inc. is a branch of CO Management Solutions, a campaign consulting firm dedicated to helping important issues make it to the ballot. These political consulting firms receive multi-million-dollar contracts from big businesses such as Uber or Delta Airlines to employ petition circulators and pay them to gather signatures on specific petitions that would benefit their business. These petition circulators are paid per signature, and they're paid surprisingly well.
$7 a signature, $7 a signature, $5 a signature, $4 a signature.
Okay, I got you.
$10 a signature, $10 a signature.
That's pretty good money right there.
That's very good money.
That's big money.
That is like, yes.
And how much money, like, would you make on it?
I make?
Yeah.
I try to make over $1,000 a day.
That's a lot of money. Not only did we find these petitions being pushed on protesters outside City Hall, but we also found them being promoted to the homeless in the depths of Skid Row. So my team and I dressed up as homeless people and went undercover. Before heading out there, I had to get in character.
Lot of pictures. Lot of pictures. Lot of pictures. Lot of pictures. They not the pigeon, I'm the pigeon. They not the pigeon, I'm the pigeon.
We walked a few blocks through Skid Row, past the intersection of San Pedro and 6th Street, and almost immediately, to our surprise, we found petitioners who were actually offering homeless people money in exchange for signatures on the ballot petitions. $2 to be exact, in exchange for their signatures.
Bro, you got a light, bro? You want a cigarette? Bro, you want a cigarette?
We're doing a petition, $2 upstate the park. Now we're gonna give you $2.
Oh, it's
we just need 14 signatures.
Oh, what is it for?
Save the parks, save the streets, save basically everything to help save the kids.
Now, that video goes on for about another 25 minutes, and I would urge everyone, James O'Keefe dropped that video about 20 minutes ago. I would urge every single one of you to go do it. Also, real quick, hold on. I just got to say, they're paying people to register people to vote. How much are they paying? Because, you know, I got like 200 voter register. I'll shut the show off right now and go fill these things out. I mean, by the way, I don't know where the hell I got all of these. They only come in a pack of 100, but it's not really the point. If they're paying people to... See, this is why Democrats win. Because Democrats, fraudulently, will actually invest in the activists. As you heard the guy sit there and say, he gets paid per signature. I can't get a phone call. Let's just examine the noise. This is about 200 voters right here. No. Republican activists have to figure out a way to fund all of our own operations, to take the time out of our jobs, to go out, to get all this stuff done, all to be shunned by the people in power. Let's listen to that noise. We have to come up with funny t-shirt ideas in order to promote our brand, and then we wonder why we lose. Then we wonder why we lose. That guy, what did he say, $2, $4, $10 a signature? Are you shitting me? I would be riding the subway all day. All day. To get signatures for ballot initiatives. All day. I would dress up like one of those Save the Whale. I would dye my hair blue and go to Columbia University and start yelling about Palestine. $10 a signature. I can't get a phone call back. Bananas. Absolutely bananas. But hey, let's talk about something slightly less frustrating, like war in the Middle East. In just 1 second, before we get to that, here's Jeremy.
Hey, everybody, if you're not familiar with, then let me introduce to you Armor Colostrum. Now, I didn't know what colostrum was up until a few years ago. I'd never even really heard of it. And then my wife turned me on to Armor Colostrum. And what colostrum does is it helps regrow your hair. Not gonna lie, that's the reason that I started looking into it. But then I started noticing some other things that I could benefit from. I used to get acid reflux very badly. I used to bloat very badly. It felt like I was 10 or 15 pounds heavier than I was until I made Armor Colostrum a part of my everyday schedule. And now things have changed so very much. Let me introduce to you what Armor Colostrum actually does and what it looks like. In a study measuring immune cell response to toxin, Armor Colostrum performed 32% stronger and faster than other colostrum companies. 400 plus bionutrients activated in your life, in your body, to help regrow hair, strengthen your gut health, regrow your nails, toenails, and fingernails healthy, get rid of fungus, stop bloating, and more. And now you can get yours right now for up to $18 off each and every purchase at tryarmra.com. Promo code LFATV. Click the apply button once you've entered the code and watch your discount fall off. That is tryarmra.com/LFATV. Order now.
Guys, head on over to tryarmor.com and use promo code LFATV. That's tryarmor.com and use code LFATV. You know what we're gonna highlight comment of the day. We're going to highlight comment of the day. And, of course, that goes to AC Knight over on Facebook. If Republicans helped people like Kevin Smith, Republicans would never lose. There are some people in this world who really need to read that. Guys, make sure you go follow AC Knight over there on Facebook. He does phenomenal work. And I think I'm just going to leave this up here for the remainder of the show, considering I know there's a gaggle of idiots right now watching this show, hoping I will say something untoward, like, use a word that they don't like. That way they can screen record it. But if they screen record it, they've got to do it with that sitting up there. So that's really going to ruin their day. It's really going to ruin their day. So let's move on from Republicans never helping activists, and that's why we lose, to war in the Middle East. Because, hey, something slightly less contentious. Yeah, I'm going to leave that up there. Right there. Just in case anybody's watching in an office anywhere. So, war in the Middle East. Yeah. We killed another top Iranian whatever. I don't really care. But I don't, because I don't care about Iran at all. Not even a little bit. Apparently that puts me in the minority. Of MAGA voters, which, okay, I'm anti-interventionist and I'm anti-war, and I hope this shit ends relatively soon so the oil can go back down to like $60, $70 a barrel, and the stock market can go back up to 50,000, and Pam Bondi can go and testify before Congress and mention that the Dow Jones is back up to 50,000 instead of answering any serious questions about an international pedophile ring. So let's get back to war in the Middle East, as we've got sirens over Israel.
They closed the airspace over Israel. Sirens now in Tel Aviv. Let's go straight to Trey Yingst. Trey.
Yeah, Harris, you can hear those sirens sounding behind me, and I'm going to have my cameraman come here to the edge of the balcony, and you're going to see off in the distance a white trail of smoke. This is from Israel's interceptor that was just fired from the heart of the city, and you need to pan to the skyline here. What you're watching here is either debris, possibly from an interception that was just coming down there, an even closer trail of smoke there in the skies above Tel Aviv. This comes just after there was a warning that was issued to the Israeli people about the possibility of incoming Hezbollah rocket fire tonight. The Israelis say they gathered intelligence showing that Hezbollah was preparing for another large barrage of rockets. But again, we believe this incoming fire was directly from the Iranian regime. And while U.S. Central Command and the Israelis have been quite successful in taking out many of these launching positions, the Israelis say about 70% of them have been destroyed. Still, the 30% that is left being used to target Israeli cities, and officials say that this could last for a number of days, if not weeks. Harris?
So, Trey, I know we had reported about 20 minutes ago about the closing of the airspace because of Hezbollah, and I had a guest on, former Vice Admiral Fox, who was on, and we were talking about how many missiles Lebanon and the terrorist organization, the proxy of Iran, Hezbollah, still has. What are you hearing there about what they're able to do right now?
It's a great question, and I spoke with a senior Israeli official who indicated Hezbollah, Iran's largest proxy that's based in Lebanon, has up to 12,000 missiles and rockets that still could threaten Israeli communities. About half of them, this official added, are actually within range of Israel. Others are in storage facilities or further north in the Bekaa Valley. As this is taking place, though, Israel is now prepared for developing multi-front conflict, understanding that they're not only, as you just saw, receiving incoming fire from the Iranian regime, but also Hezbollah has the ability, with missiles and rockets that were smuggled in to Lebanon, to target major population centers here. And we saw just a few days ago Hezbollah firing 100 rockets over the border in less than an hour. And that's the concern for the Israeli people, that if this is a joint attack that takes place, it could overwhelm air defense systems. The IDF says they are not currently running low on missile interceptors, but of course they are urging the population to stay close to bomb shelters, understanding that with Operation Epic Fury continuing and U.S. and Israeli strikes decimating the Iranian regime, that the Israeli people are still going to take much of this incoming fire as the war develops.
Well, and we have seen Iran, try.
I want to thank Trey Yingst, who's doing his best to perform his impression of the Great Gazoo out there with that gigantic helmet on. I guess that's what happens when you're in a war zone. So we got missiles falling over Tel Aviv right now. That's terrifying. President Trump says he seems to believe that this is going to end quickly. Look, I don't like to say that I'm wrong, which is good for me because I don't get to say that very often because I'm usually not. But I'm not really sure how this ends quickly. I don't really know how it ends quickly. But when asked about it the other day, President Trump seemed to be pretty confident in the fact that this is going to be over relatively soon.
Can I ask you another question about the war? If Iran, as you said, totally obliterated, got the missiles, got the first 2 rounds of leadership, Air Force gone, Navy gone, can we wrap this war up this week?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Will we?
I don't think so, but it'll be soon. Won't be long. And we're going to have a much safer world when it's wrapped up. It'll be wrapped up soon. We're going to have a much safer world. I had an obligation to do this. I didn't want to, I call it an excursion. I didn't want to make this journey. We had the highest stock market in history. We had low gas prices. Everything was good. And I know exactly, I know what, you're going to do it, and people are going to raise the price of oil, and that's good. But I know that. But that's a very small thing compared to allowing them to have, you want to see a stock market go down? Start letting them hit you with nukes, okay? I think, I said it this morning, I think it's a very small price to pay. And frankly, I thought it was going to go down much more, if you want to know the truth. I assumed that it was going to go down much more, only because people don't understand to a large, it's a big chess game at a very high level. It's a very high level chess, the highest. And I'm dealing with very smart players. These are smart people. They don't get there. When you deal with some of these people, you're dealing with high level intellect, very high IQ people. These are not Jasmine Crockett and her group.
Now, I really just played that just to listen to Trump make fun of Jasmine Crockett. But he seems to say that this is going to end quickly, and I hope he's right. I hope I get to come on this show in a couple of weeks or a month or so and say, look, I was wrong. Unfortunately, as many of the people who watch this show know, I'm wrong very infrequently. So, we'll see. We seem to be killing everybody, and they seem to still be shooting off missiles. So, I don't know. We've got an update on the SAVE Act coming from Fox News. We'll throw it to that in 1 second. Before we do that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products.
For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com and use promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD, for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. So we've got an update right now on the SAVE Act. Apparently, John Thune may be bending to the left.
This is a test vote. It just needs a simple majority to get onto the bill, and this vote will command Senate floor traffic for the near future. They might be on this bill a day, maybe a couple of days, maybe through the weekend, but passage of the bill is unclear. The GOP may lack the votes despite the president's demand. Multiple members of your conference say that there aren't even 51 votes.
Yeah, well, and you're making an assumption that at the end of this debate that none of the Democrats will be won over. And I'm not saying that I appreciate your skepticism, but I think it's an important debate to have because it is an issue that is at the very core of elections in this country.
Now, Fox is told that Thune will...
I'm sorry, John Thune. We're going to play the rest of the clip out. But, John Thune, if you are hedging your bet on the SAVE Act passing by some moderate Democrats coming over to your side, you're an idiot. You'll probably get Fetterman. You'll probably lose one of your people. You'll probably lose Murkowski or Collins or maybe even Rand Paul. Who knows? If you think there's going to be some sudden groundswell of Democrats that are like, I wasn't gonna vote against this, but now, debate has won me over. Well, you are, my friend, are a Damas.
Will eventually move to terminate debate. That requires 60 yeas. But as always, it's about the math.
Well, it's because of the way that different states would be affected by the bill. We've had several members comment that it would not be possible before the midterms for everyone in their state to get registered.
Democrats know the GOP faces a challenging path, but expect Republicans to keep the Senate in session for days and make a show of trying to pass the bill.
If a small band of MAGA senators wants to drag this out on the Senate floor, keep us here through the night, through days or longer, while stalling all other important business, they can try. It will not work.
However, Republicans will tee up amendments on mail-in balloting and barring men from playing women's sports. They want to get Democrats on the record about those issues.
Yeah,
Martha?
it's clear that Leader Thune wants to hear the debate and he wants to put the vote to people. And, I guess surmise that he thinks that if Democrats are pushed hard enough on this issue, for a lot of them, or a handful at least in their home states, it's going to be hard for them to vote no on it. What's your read of that, Chad?
Yeah, that's a little bit of it. But, you heard Cynthia Lummis, the Republican from Wyoming. They don't think that they even have that simple majority there. And at some point, and this was partly what I was asking John Thune about, I have been told by his office that they will move to end debate on this. And once they do that, that's what they call invoking cloture. You are terminating debate. You need 60 yeas. Well, there might be a universe where you get 51. But there probably is not a universe where you get 60. And once John Thune does that, well, probably the gig is up. That said, politically, Republicans will have gotten Democrats on the record about all these issues, men playing in women's sports and mail-in balloting and so on. And they will control some of those amendments. It's not going to be a free-for-all, but this is going to be on the Senate floor probably through the end of the week. And what I've been told they might try to do is in this maybe over the weekend, early next week. So they back time before the Easter recess to confirm Mark Wayne Mullen as the new Secretary of Homeland Security. Remember, that'll take a couple of days to do that on the floor, so they want to get this floor cleared by early next week, and his confirmation hearing is tomorrow.
Yeah, and just to be clear, very quickly, there's 53 Republican senators, but that is not enough to get this bill across, right?
If they have a simple majority, we're told that Tom Tillis is opposed, and I would keep an eye on Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Mitch McConnell.
All right. Yeah. So I was just getting a word on timing here, Chad. But just one more quick question.
Yeah. So we're going to lose 4 Republican votes. We're going to pick up Fetterman, I think. J.D. Vance will break a tie, 51. John Thune will invoke cloture. The debate will end, and there will be no vote. God, government's great, isn't it? Government's just so great. You gotta love it on some level. I mean, you don't, but, you know, what the hell are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Guys, before we keep rocking and rolling, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Actually, during that video, I had a little bit of fun. I got to talk crap to some lady in Ireland. I'll post that right after the show. That was fun. Once again, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. If you are a St. Patrick's Day celebrator, I know it's a Tuesday, and most of you have work, so you probably aren't drunk yet. But before you do that, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on over here at the Loud Majority. We got some good stuff over there. You guys are going to want to go check that out for sure. Make sure you use promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. That's promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. Let's just leave it up there for a little bit, because why the hell not? Listen, guys. Here you go, right there. Here you go. AC Knight. Hell of a guy. So while we try to pass the SAVE Act, did you know that the government is still shut down and DHS has still not received any funding? So TSA workers, the people who keep us safe on airplanes, allegedly, even though, let's be honest, every person here has brought something onto a plane they shouldn't have before, whether it's a bottle of toothpaste that is too big, or I had a friend that I'm not going to say that out loud. Never mind. Why would I say that out loud? I'm not going to tell that story. What's up, Ange? I know you're watching, and you know what story I'm about to tell. But TSA is still not being paid. So much so that now call-outs at the people still working at TSA is up some 20%, with more than 300 TSA agents all over the country just quitting. Because why would they stay at a job where... Oh, hold on. SAVE Act update. Let's see, what do we got here? All right, Susan Collins voted yes. All righty. Very good. Reports are saying that Lisa Murkowski is opposing the SAFE Act. Of course she is. Because it's going to be very difficult for people who live in igloos. Yes, she voted no. Murkowski voted no on the SAVE Act. Damn that woman. All right, we'll keep you updated on that. What the hell was I saying here? Oh, yeah, TSA lines. Out the door. Out of control. People getting laid off. Check this out.
Now is Deputy TSA Administrator Adam Stahl. Adam, thanks very much for joining us this weekend. Can you assess the impact of a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security for us?
Yeah, absolutely. The impacts have been significant, both financially, operationally, as well as for our workforce. Significant financial impacts, and they're frustrated, to be completely candid. They can't pay their bills. They can't pay for childcare, and so it's having wide-ranging impacts across the economy for the traveling public, as well as for our workforce as well.
Well, I mean, what about security? Are you changing certain programs at certain airports and making us less safe in some ways?
Now, the security integrity of the system is very much intact, but there will be impacts, of course, to operations. We've already seen, elongated wait times, 3-4 hour wait times in Houston, New Orleans, Atlanta, and the like. And so if Senate Democrats don't come to the table, this will get worse. It's not a matter of if, it's more when. And so we really need, again, Senate Democrats to come to the table so we can refund TSA, DHS, and get money back into our workers' pockets.
Well, you're right. I mean, now they're missing their first full paycheck this weekend, and major airports are pivoting to passengers to support TSA workers. Denver International and Seattle Tacoma asking travelers to donate gift cards and essentials to agents who are going without pay. Tell us about that.
Yeah, really every little bit helps, and we've received tremendous support from the community, both industry as well as the private community. And so if you have more questions, please go on TSA.gov in terms of how to donate. But they are hurting. I just spoke to an individual, single mother, has a 3-year-old special needs child. She can't pay for childcare for that child. So things are significantly problematic right now. Our workforce is having acute financial impacts, and frankly, they're very frustrated, as they should be. This is becoming, frankly, shameful and ridiculous.
It's definitely shameful and ridiculous that we have to put together care packages for TSA agents. Considering we all put together a care package for TSA agents, it happens in about 28 days. It's called Tax Day, where, in case you guys are curious, I won't be paying my taxes this year. I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tax check, I'm going to get into a car, and I'm going to drive it directly to Minnesota and just hand it over to a Somalian family. That way we can cut out the middleman. Because let's be honest, that's where it's all going anyway. So we're watching. Do I have it pulled up here? Yeah, we're watching the SAVE Act vote right now. Let me try to get this to fit on the screen. We'll pop it up right here. Sorry, I had to take it from the damn YouTube video. But it looks like, as it stands right now, the unofficial tally for the SAVE Act is 48-48, with 4 more senators needing to vote. Very nice. Very nice. You mean like exactly what I said was going to happen? Except for Susan Collins. She came around the mountain. It's probably because she's worried about facing a primary. Let's see. Do we have any more updates right now? Nobody. Mitch, Cocaine Mitch, voted yes. So it looks like this is going to pass. Very good stuff. Very good. I'll keep that tucked up in the corner, because there is one more video that I want to make sure I play today. A ridiculous, insane video out of Boston. Boston, the city most famous for starting the revolution and then, leading to the demise of America. Well, ICE agents were roaming around Boston trying to arrest someone from El Salvador who had an arrest warrant in El Salvador for molesting kids. And a bunch of ICE and a bunch of anti-ICE protesters got in their way of doing that. Congratulations, Democrats, now protecting child predators.
Anti-ICE agitators blocking agents from making an arrest in Boston last month. The target, an illegal migrant facing child rape charges in El Salvador. Agents forced to walk away as the crowd closed in, only to track him down and make the arrest days later. Our correspondent Molly Line is reporting on this live out of Boston. Hi, Molly. In El Salvador, agents forced to walk away. Our correspondent.
Oh, yeah, that guy looks lovely. Oh, wait a minute. What's he doing for work? Oh, that's right. He's walking up to your front door. Can you see that with his little Amazon shirt on? Thank you, Jeff Bezos, for hiring child predators from El Salvador.
Molly Line is reporting on this live out of Boston. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Sandra. Yeah, an accused predator, a wanted man, a fugitive from El Salvador, got to spend a few extra weeks on the streets of Boston because the targeted operation intending to take him into custody was loudly interrupted by agitators who spotted the ICE agents as they waited near the home of the accused child rapist, who lived just down the street from an elementary school in East Boston. This video, provided to our own correspondent Bill Malutian by an ICE source, shows the agent's vehicle surrounded by cursing, screaming activists in mid-February. Agents were forced to abandon their target that day, but last week they were finally able to catch up to Walter Roberto Vides Ortiz in East Boston. Per ICE Boston, he is a fugitive from El Salvador with an arrest warrant issued in November of 2016 for the aggravated rape of a minor. He illegally entered the U.S. earlier that year through Texas. Notably, Boston is a sanctuary city, and federal authorities have consistently expressed frustration with the lack of cooperation from local police, forcing ICE operations to be conducted out in neighborhoods where agents often face harassment. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, a Democrat, has demanded transparency from ICE, and earlier this month asked for specific information. She asked for specific information.
Apparently, it's that reporter's first day out on the job. Not really sure what the hell happened there, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Guys, it is just about 4 p.m. Once again, we are... Hey, look at that. Hey! Hey, look at that. We got a 50% on the fake SAVE Act vote. Once again, this is the fake SAVE Act vote. This actually isn't the vote. This is the vote to pretend to think about considering possibly voting for the SAVE Act, or as I call it, the just the tip vote, which I'm told some of you thought was really funny. They're really killing themselves here. You know, I feel bad for senators. I do. I mean, all this voting and all this crap that has to go on, like, they really should be getting back to doing what's most important, and that would be starting wars in order to, you know, short companies and buy oil stocks and fund their defense contractor buddies, because, you know, that's all they really do. That's all they really do. Guys, it's 4 p.m. Make sure you stay tuned next. I think Hannah Faulkner is going to make fun of men who do Irish step dancing. I think we should make fun of all people that do Irish step dancing, but she's particularly going to make fun of the men, I believe, which ought to be funny as hell. I'll catch you guys back live tomorrow. Until then, everybody, stay loud.